Hi there, my name is Goran and I'm licensed as a registered psychotherapist. Thank you for coming to my page. So the point of this video is I just wanted you to get to know me for a couple of minutes and just to hear about how I present myself, get used to me so you can feel a little bit familiar. One of the things I'm doing with this video too is I'm choosing not to read off of a script. I'm just going to include all the ums and ahs and awkward pauses that go along with it because I want to show you that this is what real interactions are like and this is what you can expect in a therapy session. So I want to make it as real as possible. So some of the stuff I'll say today, you'll probably see on my page. I'll probably repeat it in person, but I want to give you a bit of information on what my approach is, what my philosophy is, and just what I can bring to the table for you so you have a better understanding to see if we're a good fit for each other, if you have any questions, that kind of stuff. So there's something like 400 different approaches to therapy, and most of them are not practiced, but at least not in mainstream. The ones that you probably heard about most commonly are cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and the psychoanalytic approach. You've probably seen that in movies and TV. That's like Freud and laying on the couch and talking about your mother. I don't practice those approaches, so the one I lean on most heavily is called solution-focused brief therapy. Brief just means that we don't put you on a set amount of sessions, so we don't ask you to commit to say 12 sessions. It's you take as many as you need and not one more, as the expression goes. So solution focused, what that means is it's just a way of asking questions. So if you come to me with a particular problem, like say anxiety, for instance, I would be interested in knowing, well, what do you want to have instead of anxiety? Or what are those areas in your life where the anxiety is less present? What's different during those moments? I'm also curious to know about what type of relationships do you have that you can lean on. I ask a lot of scaling questions as well to get a better understanding of where you perceive yourself sitting on certain things, so certain abilities and whatnot. So it's just an approach of asking questions. So it's more about how do we get you out of the problem rather than dwelling in the problem. Having said that, there is still a space there to speak openly about the problem, obviously. So sessions with me, we still talk about those difficult things that everyone experiences. It's just part of being a human. But then once that's out of the way, we also want to talk about, okay, how do we get you out of there? And so that's what the approach is more focused on. So that's solution-focused brief therapy. And then narrative therapy is something else that I practice. And what that works with the presumption that we all interpret the world through stories. And this is also one of the reasons why we're so interested in stories and movies and TV shows and whatever else with compelling stories. So that's actually how we conceptualize our worldview oftentimes, and we're pretty much always. And so it's about, can we look at some stories that you have from your past that might not be serving you well? Where did those stories come from? How old were you when you came up with those stories? Is it worth maybe looking at it with a fresh pair of eyes? I mean, after all, you're now an adult with the wisdom and the experience along the way that's come, and that's far removed from a child who could have came up with a story based off of an interpretation of events. Maybe it's worth relooking at that with a fresh pair of eyes. So that's narrative therapy as well, and those are the two I use most regularly. In terms of a little bit about me, I'm married. It's right now I'm filming this in February of 2023, so I have a son along the way, my first son. He'll be born in July. I live with my wife. Her name's Stella. We live together in Mississauga, and yeah, so that's a little bit about me. If you have any questions, I'm an open book. We can, during our consult, we do 15-20 minute consults for free. I'm an open book. If you have any questions about me, feel free to ask me. I'll tell you anything you need to know. I'm a pretty comfortable guy, and I can assure you that anything you come to me with, I've probably heard it before. People just have very similar problems, just showing up in different ways. So I'd be happy to help you out with whatever I can. And yeah, book a session and find out more. Thanks for listening.